In the gleaming towers of Victoria Island, where affluence flows like fine wine and secrets are locked behind bulletproof glass, a young woman vanished without a trace. Her name? Zulaiha Bako, an ambitious fashion entrepreneur from Kano, whose sudden rise had captured the attention of Lagos elite. But what no one knew was that behind her elegance, behind her flawless image, lay a dark entanglement, one that would drag the city's most powerful figures into the spotlight of a murder investigation that would change everything. This is not just a story of a woman gone missing, this is the untold truth of how one man, Obinna Daramola, pulled the strings of privilege, power, and death until the truth clawed its way to the surface. It was a humid Thursday evening in late March when Zulaiha's driver, Musa Ibrahim, noticed something strange. She hadn't come down from her apartment at 8 p.m. as scheduled. That wasn't like her. Zulaiha ran her life like a business, precise, efficient, timely. By 9:15 p.m., Musa called her. No answer. By 11:30 p.m., her apartment was broken into. And that's when the mystery began. Inside, her phone, untouched on the granite countertop. Her laptop was still open, with a draft email titled, "If anything happens to me." But the rest of her was gone. Just gone. The case landed on the desk of Detective Funmi Adegoke, a no-nonsense, soft-spoken officer whose instincts were as sharp as her mind. She'd made a name for herself solving high-profile fraud cases, but this was something darker. What Funmi found in Zulaiha's digital records wasn't just strange, it was terrifying. Encrypted folders. Deleted photos. Mysterious payments from anonymous offshore accounts. But one name kept popping up, Obinna Daramola, a revered business tycoon with political ambitions, known for his billionaire estates and his so-called mentorship of young female entrepreneurs. To the public, Obinna was a philanthropist. But behind closed doors, people whispered about his temper and worse. Funmi's attempts to interview Obinna were blocked at every turn. His lawyers claimed it was character assassination. His PR team spun a narrative, Zulaiha was emotionally unstable. They even accused her of fabricating stories to blackmail a generous mentor. But Funmi wasn't the only one asking questions. Zulaiha's best friend, Ngozi Umar, a tenacious journalist from Enugu, began her own search for the truth. She reached out to Zulaiha's former assistants, ex-lovers, even her estranged uncle in Yola. And what she found sent chills down her spine. Zulaiha had confided in someone weeks before her disappearance. A friend. A confidant. A name she had scribbled in a journal entry, "If I die, tell Abdul Rahman Lawal everything." Who was Abdul Rahman? A political strategist. Quiet. Brilliant. And most importantly, Obinna's former fixer. Abdul Rahman had disappeared from public life after a scandal 2 years ago, and no one had seen him since. But Ngozi found him, living off-grid in Osogbo. After hours of silence, he finally broke. Obinna, he said, had a system. A structure. Promising women the world, grooming them, isolating them, and then using them, financially, emotionally, sexually. Some of them tried to escape. Few succeeded. But Zulaiha. She had something others didn't, evidence. She had been secretly recording their interactions. Obinna, recording. You think you're the first one to threaten me, Zulaiha. You don't know who you're playing with. I own the game. The recordings were horrifying. Threats. Admissions. Laughter at the idea of accidents. Funmi, now certain of Obinna's involvement, brought the tapes to her superiors. But they shut her down. They told her to let it go. That it was above her pay grade. And 2 days later, her apartment was ransacked. Funmi wasn't the only one being silenced. Ngozi's article was killed by her editor. Funding for her investigative podcast was cut. Even Musa, Zulaiha's lawyer driver, was suddenly deported over irregular papers he never had an issue with before. But then came the biggest twist yet. A former aide of Obinna's turned up dead in an unregistered hotel in Suralaya. Cause of death: blunt force trauma. And beside his body, a USB drive. On that drive were video files. Dozens of them. Obinna, caught on hidden camera, manipulating, threatening, even abusing women. And worse, there was a file labeled, Zulaiha, Final Night. But just as Funmi loaded the file, the screen went black. The system had been remotely wiped. She was being watched. What followed was chaos. Ngozi received anonymous threats. Funmi was suspended pending internal review. Abdulrahman vanished again. The only evidence left: a partial transcript Ngozi had saved on a flash drive she wore around her neck like a crucifix. But the city was changing. Whispers were turning into outrage. More women began to speak out, one by one. Former interns, employees, even celebrities. Each had a story. Each had scars. And at the center of it all, Obinna Daramola, the man who no one dared accuse publicly. Until one woman did. Her name was Yewanda Shagaya, a Nollywood actress who had once called Obinna her benefactor. Standing before a crowd of journalists, she declared, "Yewanda, archival audio. He is not a mentor. He is a predator. And I am not the only one." The press conference broke the internet. #Justice for Zulaiha trended globally. NGOs stepped in. International media descended on Lagos. And Obinna. He vanished. 2 weeks later, a fisherman in Badagry found a body floating near the border. It was burned beyond recognition, but the jewelry on the wrist, Zulaiha's. A match confirmed the worst. But something didn't add up. Funmi noticed signs of post-mortem tampering. Dental records didn't match. So who was the body? And where was Zulaiha? Just when the world thought it knew what happened, the mystery took a darker turn. What if Zulaiha was still alive? What if she was in hiding, or being hunted? And what if Obinna wasn't running, but planning something worse? Stay with us for part 2, where the truth unravels and the conspiracy threatens to destroy everything. To be continued.